All right, let's get going here. How's the conference been so far for everybody? Good?
Good.
So I expect you remember everything, right? When you go back? No? Okay, so very excited. Thank you for choosing this session this afternoon. This is something that's near and dear to my heart. I love talking about this, especially with 2013. Boy, it's just a life changer. So what we're going to do in the next hour, I'm going to show you 7 ways to empower reluctant project managers. You know who that is? All of us. Nobody wants to be that guy or that girl, right? Why do I have to manage that project? I'm not a PMP. That's not my day job. I work at marketing, I'm in IT, I'm in operations. I have to manage projects? What? You want me to use Project Server? Who loves Project Server? Okay. Who has Project Server? How about Primavera? Everybody loves it, right? Especially the CIO. So what we're going to do is look at the power of 2013 and see how it can help us better collaborate on projects, better manage projects, but more importantly, how we get our jobs done much more efficiently. So, to get our conversation started, here's a pop quiz for everyone. What do you think the number 1 project management tool is today in 2013? No, that's number 3. Number 3, that's what I told you. Email. What? Really, ducks? Think about it. Where's that report? Let me check my email. Where's that status? Let me check my email. And I'm not kidding. This was a formal survey done by the Project Management Institute 2 years ago. Hasn't changed. We're in 2013 where everybody has the iPhone 5, Surface Pro, GPS in your car, TiVo at home because you have to record Dancing with the Stars. And we use a 1973 technology to facilitate project management, which, by the way, wasn't designed to do. Shame on us, right? So hopefully after this session, our thinking and our perspective will change. So here's what we're going to do. At a high level, I'll talk about the benefits of 2013 as a project collaboration, project management platform. Not only will I talk about SharePoint, I'll talk about all the related technologies you can take advantage of. I'm not some guys. Take some seats up here for both of you. Want to come up? Now, not only will we look at SharePoint, as we know, we don't just use SharePoint, right? I mean, first thing you do when you go to work, what do you turn on? Outlook. And you leave it up on the 3rd monitor, right? So how does SharePoint work with tools that we already use? We'll look at that. So from Office, Outlook, mobile, iPads, Project Server, Project, we'll look at all that. We'll talk about how you streamline different stages of projects, when you plan, when you track, when you do reporting. Don't you love it? Every Thursday afternoon, you have to pull together all these Excel files and create like a PowerPoint report on the status of the project. Lovely, isn't it? You do it every Thursday. What if you can automate that? Because your manager, your customer, worships this thing called a dashboard. You gotta have one. How do you do it? We'll look at how we do it with 2013. We'll also look at how we enable our users to take advantage of existing tools and how we automate processes with workflows that come to SharePoint. And last but not least, we'll talk about how we build reports and dashboards. So a quick background on myself. Again, my name is Dux. I've been working with SharePoint as a technology for the last 11, 12 years, but very passionate about how SharePoint can provide business value. I wrote the book SharePoint for Project Management, and for being here, you all will get a copy. What I'll do is I'll pass this box around. Just put your card, name, email, and I'll send you a code where you can download a copy. Additionally, this session is being recorded. So if you put your information here, I'll send you the recording, all the demos, and all the whatever I show you will be on this box. Feel free to drop some money as well. Now, so feel free to connect with me. There's my contact info. So let's get the conversation started here. Okay. Before we jump on and look at 2013, and see the goodness of 2013 for project management, but let's understand if 2013 is the silver bullet. So to put our perspective in place, I want to show this picture because this series of pictures depicts a typical project life cycle. You know, this first picture says, this is what the customer described what they want or what they need. You know, it looks like a swing with 3 chairs. This is how the project manager understood what it is. What the analyst designed. What the programmer wrote. How the consultant described it. You just don't hear the audio background. Angels are singing. Ah! How it was documented. Thought that was our favorite activity, documentation. How it was installed, how the customer was billed, how it was supported, and what the customer really needed. You all are laughing, but that's going on right now back at the farm. Why do you think that is? Why do you think these things happen in our project environment? Anybody? Yes, sir. Communication. What? Lack of communication? Or even worse, irrelevant communication. Don't you love it when you get copied on every single freaking email that has nothing to do with you? What else? Why do you think this happens? I need one more answer.
Time.
What about time?
Lack of time.
Lack of time to properly plan, to properly evaluate. But I think nobody in this room is thinking, well, Docs, these things happen because we don't have a good project management tool. Right? And that's what I want to drill and stress. A tool is a tool is a tool. The irony of this is a lot of times when customers come to me or talk to my company, we have an expertise around using Microsoft-based tools for project management. The first thing they tell me is, we want Project Server. We want SharePoint for project management. Okay. Projects are behind, schedules a mess, scope, we don't meet scope. Okay, so let's talk about how you do projects first. What are your metrics? What are your processes? We don't have that, we don't need those, we just need a tool. Sound familiar? We always look at that magic pill. Guess what? Project management is not just about a tool. It's about who's doing it, the processes you have or not, and then the tool. Most of us are in this bucket. This is who I call the reluctant PMs. We're not formal PMs, we just do however we do it with these tools. Now, what's wrong, Ducks? It works. Oh yeah, it works. And sometimes it doesn't. But the problem is, through time, if everybody has their own thing going on, it's not a good thing. Because it's not consistent, organizationally speaking, it's hard to track, hard to measure. So what a lot of companies do, they decide, you know what, this is not working. Let's get a nice tool, Project Server, Primavera, Clarity, EPM Live, Run DMC. Check through this. Man, there's a bunch of seats up here for you. Thank you. But we forget that this is a three-legged entity. We just try to mature the tool without the right people not being trained, no process, the tool cannot help you. Y'all with me? So, what am I proposing here, gang? What I'm proposing is, since a lot of us are here, let's take the next step up. I'm going to show you how you can take your baby steps with proper understanding of basic project management, a process in place, relevant templates, and some project collaboration tool, and boy, what a big improvement you'll see. Now, from a Microsoft perspective, I just want to clarify. How does Microsoft look at project management? In fact, when we think of project management and Microsoft, a lot of us think Microsoft project. While that's true, it's not the only game in town. The most fundamental project management tool Microsoft has is Outlook. You want to admit it or not, it's Outlook. But then as you grow, there's a lot of different tools and options and choices depending on your maturity and your needs. Well, Docs, all I have to do is track action items. Maybe just use SharePoint and a task list. Docs, I want to start working with my vendors, my teammates, track, put assignments. Maybe you can use this SharePoint, use a document library and task list. Docs, I need more sophisticated scheduling. You can use Project Professional and SharePoint. So as you can see, as the needs grow, Microsoft can support it, and I'll show you that. Now, How do you get going then, Doc? So I get you, Docs. It's not just a tool. You got to have the right process, people, and then couple it with a tool. So show me, how would all this work? All right? So let me step you through how this picture would look like. So let's start off a story here. Gentlemen, there's a bunch of seats up front for you, so if you'd like to come up, I just saved it for you. I know you're coming late. So let's say I'm a project manager. I know nothing about programming, and I work for this company, and I work for a company that I go out and open a new business, right? So we open restaurants or cafeteria, whatever. Traditionally, if I needed a collaboration platform or some website, who do I call? Who do I call? Who? IT, right? I fill out a ticket request, dear IT, I'm working on a new project, I need a project site, I bought you a round of Guinness last time, give me one. Do I get it right away? No. Depending on the Guinness, right? Depending on the priority of the project, who I am politically, I won't get it. Now, the beauty with SharePoint 2013 as a platform, we all know it's great for collaboration, but it's even better for project management. Because a lot of the needs around project management, SharePoint 2013 can provide. So let me show you a scenario. So this is my company. We have a full-blown SharePoint 2013 site, our portal. We have different stuff. And one of the things in our portal, so we have the different departments, our employee stuff. There's this thing for projects. So the way our company set up our SharePoint environment is anytime we're working on a project, I click on the link that says project, and I'm going to go ahead and create a new project site. Now, think about this. I don't just go here aimlessly and randomly, because we have a process in my company. As soon as my boss tells me the docs are going to work on a new project, as a part of project initiation process, I'm supposed to create a project site, so everything about the project will be there. Our documents, our tasks, communications, all that good stuff. So for my new project, I'm going to open a restaurant at SharePoint Fest Denver. I'm just going to type that, and I'm going to hit create. I kind of did that earlier already to save time. Now, before I show you the site, here's essentially what I wanted to show you first. Remember the thing I talked about, process? I highly, highly urge you, don't get too caught up on technology. Step back and first think about, how do you do projects? For example, in this diagram or in this process, in our company, when a project is approved, a project manager is assigned. That's me, Dux. So as soon as Dux is assigned, the first thing he has to do is create a project site. Then he needs to create his schedule. Then he needs to pick his team members. Y'all with me? Y'all with me? All right. So you gotta have your ducks in a row before you do anything. All right? Now, once the project site is created, I end up with where's my IE here? Something like this. So this is out of the box project site template with SharePoint. So some of you have seen this already, some of you may not. Straightforward. So what's the benefit here? Well, here's the deal. Now that I've got my project site, in fact, as a project manager, I want to tweak this quickly so I can customize it for my project. So I'm going to take out stuff I don't need. In fact, I'm going to go to my templates directory or templates folder that I have all my project templates. Actually, it's not that one. I think it's docs. I'll just pick these files. Okay, so just pick some files here. Let's say these are some of my project templates, right? I can take it and then easily drag and drop it to my site. As you can see in 2013, drag and drop, be it IE, even on the Mac. Later I'll show in the Mac. That's an easy way to upload. Y'all see that? From a usability perspective, the experience is much better. So for reluctant project managers, wow, drag and drop. I know how to do that. Next. So as a project manager, one of the first things I do, also for my project site, communications is important to me, right? Because in projects, you don't just track action items. You know, people talk and people email all the time. Y'all with me? In the spirit of having a one-stop shop, that's the whole purpose of a project, right? If I can control it, I would want people, you know, talking about the project on a separate email thread. And then I have all my project-related artifacts in this project site. Y'all follow me? Well, guess what? In 2013, there's a brand spanking new feature called Site Mailbox. And all you have to do is within your SharePoint site, in this case my project site, I'm going to add an app. So if you're not familiar, in 2013, you can add these things called apps. I'm going to add an app called Site Mailbox, which I already did earlier to save time. And now I've got my site mailbox. So what's a site mailbox? A site mailbox essentially is an email account for the entire site. Okay? It's an email account for the entire site that people that's part of that project can interact with. Meaning it's an email inbox for the site so people can send an email to it, and if you're part of the project, you get it as well. So I clicked on mailbox, the mailbox would show up on the site. But wait, there's more. For $9.99, I'm just kidding. So once you enable site mailbox, I'm firing up Outlook, okay? Check this out. So you know how Outlook works, right? You have your own mailbox, but look at this. SP Fest Denver. I'll be. What's that? When you enable a site mailbox in SharePoint 2013 and you're part of that site, this mailbox will also appear in Outlook. So, hold on. So you're saying, Docs, I don't even need to go to the browser to interact with the mailbox? Of course not. That's like so 2012. So what this means is, directly, give me a second, directly in Outlook, yeah, I can see all the mail that goes into this site, and heck, I can even respond. It's kind of like a mailing list kind of thing, but it's tied to the site. It's very cool. Hello, world. Yeah? And as soon as I do that, it's going to go back to the site. If alerting's turned on, well, alerting doesn't even have to be turned on because everybody will get it. Not only that, not only will you get this mail, look at this site mailbox. Inbox, deleted items. What's that? Documents? The site document library is now surfaced in Outlook, which means if I fancy using Outlook as my SharePoint front end, which is fine, I can take any file, drag and drop it directly onto Outlook, which, by the way, is the same thing as a document library in my project site. Is that cool or is that cool? Questions? Very good question. So, again, you got to have SharePoint 2013. But how do you make this work on the Outlook? You have to have Exchange 2013 and Outlook 2013. That's the only catch. It's kind of like a bait and switch, right? Well, you got to buy that too. So if you have Exchange 2010, Exchange 2007, it won't work. And that's why, on the other hand, I highly recommend everyone go to the cloud. If infrastructure is not your core business, don't worry about upgrading servers, buying the next version. Just swipe your credit card, set up a, it doesn't have to be Office 365 anywhere. You get the latest and greatest stuff. Now, site mailbox is huge. For reluctant project managers, this is a very, very powerful capability. So I'm just going back to my project site. In fact, let me open this up in my Mac environment as well. Let me go to my Mac environment. Let's see. In fact, let me just PFS Denver. Okay. So I'm in my Mac environment. The experience will be the same because these days we just can't control what people use. We're in the age of bring your own device, consumerization of IT, all that stuff. Be it a Mac, Android, iPad, iPhone, the Motorola StarTAC, brick phone. Remember that? This thing will work, right? So it's really powerful. So you see my mailbox there. Now, that's the first thing you can do. You can create your project site as the first step. As soon as the project is defined, create a project site, and this will serve as the keychain of your project. Whereas today, email is the keychain of our project. It's not a good thing. You got your one-stop shop. Next, the second way you can leverage SharePoint 2013 for project management is to take advantage of Project 2013. Project 2013 is the latest and greatest iteration of Microsoft Project. And boy, there's a lot of cool little useful features. So by the way, this is the site Mailbox. Notice it shows up Hello World. So all my interaction with the site via Outlook works. So what's the deal with Project? Let me explain what Project is all about. For those that haven't used Project, Project really does three things. At the core of Project, it does three things. Number one, Project is a tool that allows us to develop schedules and manage schedules. Number two, Project allows us to manage resources. Number three, Microsoft Project allows us to build reports about the project. I live and work in DC, and I shake my head every time I walk into some project, and people show me, hey, Docs, look at our Microsoft Project line. Okay, show me the tracking information. What do you mean? I go, how do you use Project? Oh, we can start a project, we build a really nice Gantt chart, we print it out, everybody has a copy, that's the thing with the tool. Yes? If that's all you use Project for, might as well just use Excel. So, it assumes that you're familiar with some project management fundamentals. It's not intended for everyone to use. So, the beauty of Project is that it can allow you to create more advanced scheduling. If you rely on SharePoint alone, while there is a task list, it's not really scheduling because all you can do there is, assign, create action items, assign tasks. But you can't say, well, these two tasks has to start at the same time. If this start, that should start. But if that didn't start, that other thing wouldn't start. Y'all with me? You can't do that with SharePoint. With Project, you can. So let me quickly create one here. Let me go ahead. I typed up some simple tasks. Let me put in some estimates here. So start is a milestone 0. Requirements, we'll spend 2 weeks doing that. Design, 2 weeks. Develop, let's spend about 3 weeks doing it. Testing, who needs testing? Let's get rid of that. Testing's overrated, Implement, let's do a day, okay? And then 0. And then what I'm going to do, gang, is I will say this project will start on April 1st, okay? So I put in all the parameters, and also I'm going to put here, I'm going to say, I want Microsoft Project to help me schedule this stuff. So now I'm going to put the dependencies. Voila. So by doing this, what did I have? I put in my tasks, my estimates, my start date, and I just said, these tasks has to happen one after the other. Microsoft Project gave me a projected finish date, May 20th, right? So it's good. It's a good scheduling engine. Next. The other thing to do is resource management. So I can go to my resource sheet and put in resources. So resource name, Docs, Raymond Sai. And Docs, I need to put in appropriate information. I can put in rates. I can put in his availability, which I'm going to do now. So I'm going to put in Docs' vacation. That will start on April 3rd to April 10th or April 12th, okay? So it'll take off for about 2 weeks, and as you can see, you can put in a lot of other variables around Docs' availability, and it so happens that's the only resource I get. Docs is the only person who's going to work on this project. Yeah? Next, now that I have my list of tasks, I have my resources, I'm going to go ahead and assign this to my resource. So let's go ahead and assign it to Docs. Now before I hit assign, what do you think will happen? The schedule says we're supposed to get done 20th, but we know what? They'll be on vacation, right? So if I hit assign, voila, the tool recalculated. It's going to take 2 more weeks to get done. Y'all see that? Now, question. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? Good? Bad? It's a good thing. Now, maybe not a good thing because the project will take longer, but it's a good thing that the tool helped us figure it out. I mean, today, how do you do it? We play a game of, if we had 3 people, he's taking vacation, it's a mess. And this is just a simple example. The tool is a great scheduling engine. Now, obviously, when I show this to my boss, they'll go, what? I thought you said we'd get done on the 20th. Why is it the 30th? Well, you only gave me Docs. Docs is going on vacation for 2 weeks. Either you tell him not to go on vacation, or you get me another person. Well, we can't afford to hire another person. So what is it going to be, boss? Right? You want something that's fast and good, ain't going to be cheap. You want anything cheap and fast, ain't going to be good. Whatever that third one is. Y'all with me? It's a great planning tool. Right? Now, let's say, yes.
Quick question. With the new version of the project, does it also do the burn down charts like for Agile type projects?
No, not yet.
Not yet?
No, but there's something, I'll talk about that. This doesn't do it. Now, the other thing I'm going to do is, since I only have so many tasks, I'm going to add this to what's called a timeline. So up here is my timeline, so it's more of a visual thing, because I can copy all that and put it to a report. So let's say we're done, right? So now we're done. But Gus, I still don't understand. While you build this nice fancy schedule, what about that whole SharePoint project site? It's still 2 separate things. You're right. But the nice thing about Project 2013, in fact, it's not even new. It's been here since 2010. I can, I got to save it first, okay? I can actually take this information and publish it to a SharePoint task list. Everybody with me? So what does that mean? I can take that schedule, make it available on the SharePoint site, so that my resource would have visibility to the schedule. My resource can go to the SharePoint site and update their, 100%, 60%. And me as the project manager, I can keep this on my desktop and work on it. Because my resource don't need Microsoft Project. You know what happens when you email around Microsoft Project file, right? It comes back as Microsoft Word. Because people can't figure it out. They just copy the table and pop it in Word and put their updates. Right? So that's been there, but here's the new feature. Listen, here's the new feature in 2013. Let's say, Docs, I don't want to synchronize this to an existing SharePoint site. I want a brand spanking new SharePoint site. Can I create a SharePoint site from Microsoft Project? Of course. I mean, the question is not can I or is it possible? The question is how do you do it, grasshoppers? That was an old show, I know. So let's say I have a prototype project, whatever, prototype software, okay? So let's say the name of this project is some prototype software. Instead of synchronizing to an existing SharePoint site, I'm going to do even better. I'm going to take this information, put in the URL of my SharePoint environment, and when I hit save, here's what Microsoft Project will do. It will connect to that SharePoint environment, authenticate me, create a new project site, take these information, publish it to the task list, take that Microsoft Project file, pop it in a site asset library. Do all that. Very cool. Now, once it's done, it's doing its thing. Once it's done, it'll fire up on my browser. But the power now, what? Is it permission? No, it did it. Let's see. So there you go. So it created it, prototype software. Let's look at the task list. Unless the internet choked, let's try that again. Let me sync it. Sync. There you go. I think it did it now. Let's see. File. Oops. check here. All right, so, okay, so let's go back and hit refresh. Are you guys online? I might take back what I said about the cloud earlier. Hold on, let's see. This thing is not loading. Okay, let's resync this. Let's resync this. You know what? I'm going to resync this with the other project. SPFest Denver. Okay. All right, so is read only permission. Oh, you know what? Let's see, let's do this. File, save as. Let's create a new task list. Let's call it project task. Okay. So we should be able to see, there you go. Huh, something weird. I'll get back to that in a second, but in a perfect world, I did that this morning a couple of times. What's that? That's right. I could blame it on my Mac. Step 1, you can create a project site. Step 2, you can use Microsoft Project. Next, what time? How much more time do I have? 30 minutes? Okay. What? 28. 28? Okay. The third step is you can take advantage of a lot of the collaboration tools, right? So within your project site, not only do you have a site where you can put all your tasks, your information, but you can have a document library, for example. So I'm sure a lot of you have seen the cool some of the new features of these document libraries. So again, just like what I did for my, let me go to pick up some Word document here. Just like what I did with IE, notice I'm in my Mac. I can easily drag and drop and collaborate, so that's cool. I can also go to the document, okay, so it's still uploading. I can also go to the document library. Go to the document library, let's see. There you go. And I can work with my colleagues. And the nice thing in 2013 in document libraries, when you hover your mouse over a document, Office Web actually renders it, so it gives you preview mode. You can see it, and obviously you can full screen, you can preview the document, but you can also do interesting things. Directly in this task pane, you can share the document to colleagues, right? You could do that. Or they also invested a lot in social features. Now, what do I mean by social features? Things like I can follow documents, right? Not only can it says now you're following this document. Not only can I follow documents, I can also follow sites. Now, Dux, what do you mean by following? Who doesn't have Facebook here? By the way, I want to let you know I'm very proud. I quit Facebook 2 months ago. Cold turkey. So they took a lot of the social concepts where you follow people or you like people. You could do that with people here, but you can also do it with content and information. So from a collaboration perspective, you can easily interact with people through a centralized, aggregated place called your newsfeed. So this is kind of like the new My Site. And in your newsfeed, it will show you everything that's relevant to you, your information, all that good stuff. But here's the cool part. Here are the people I'm following. So I can talk to them directly here. I can message them if I want and watch their feed, what's going on with them. Or I can also look at all the documents I'm following, I'm interested in, and even the sites. Now this is huge. How many of you remember every single URL of your SharePoint sites that you're involved in? You don't. But what the difference with this is if the content is relevant to you, be it a document, a site, a list item, you can follow it, simply push to you regardless of where they are. Even better, part of the new search and the new intelligence built in based on the properties and documents you're following or you're interested in, it will also recommend other documents you may be interested in as well. And in a large organization, if you have a lot of content, that's quite useful. The other thing too is, and this is quite powerful. So let me go back. Let me go back to my Denver site. Let me just go ahead and add some tasks here. So let me say requirements. Let me just manually add some tasks, and I'll go back to Microsoft Project in a second here. Design, okay. March 13 already passed, so that's fine. Let's do 29. Design, 28th. So I'm just adding basic tasks, and in fact, I'm gonna highlight this thing here. All right. And in my ribbon interface, I'm just gonna say, oh, it's already in the timeline. I'm also gonna add this to the timeline here, task, add to timeline. There you go. So, and then I'm gonna assign it to ducks. In fact, let me type my alias here. I know what happened, why it didn't want to synchronize. Because it can't find my alias. Okay. All right, so you know, I did all that. It's pretty cool. Simple task list. But here's the powerful thing. Listen, this is important. In the 2013 suite of technology, so let's say I get assigned a task. You know, we're talking about collaboration. In 2010 or even 2007, how would you know about your task? Pop quiz. How would you know? An alert, or you go to the, I mean, even if you get an alert, you click on the thing, it takes you to the task list, right? Everybody with me? In 2013, while that's still true, what they've done is they've consolidated everything across various channels, various tools, various interfaces. What do you mean, docs? So notice I entered a task in this project called SPFest Denver. Let me go to my copy of Outlook. Let me go to my task list. Give it a few seconds here. If you're assigned a task in SharePoint, automatically it's going to show up in your Outlook task. You don't even have to do anything. You know, back in 2010, you still have to hit connect to Outlook kind of thing. But it's more of a client thing. But here it's a server side. It's going to surface up. Just give it a few more seconds when it's synchronized. So notice here, I have my personal tasks in Outlook, but I have all these other project tasks as well, right? Not only does it show up here, where else does it show up? If I go to the My Task in my newsfeed, so let me refresh this, it shows me my personal task, my Outlook task, Las Vegas, the executive president to Hong Kong project, product launch, marketing. It still hasn't refreshed, so I'll let it sit for a second there, but later when we go back, you'll see, oh, you know why? Because I haven't gone out of this sheet. Stop editing. Okay, so now it's committed. Give it a second or two, you'll see it show up. Everybody with me? And then also obviously shows up on your mobile as well. That's cool. And what's even better is, and I've done this already, I update my task here, I'm on the road, check, I'm done. Guess what? 100% done. You talk about project management on my terms. Yes, sir.
When you did the drag and drop of the documents for this project, is it creating a copy of those in this subsite, or is it referencing where they existed?
No, the whole drag and drop, it's just a way to upload, so it's a copy. So I took files from my machine and put it on the project site. Yeah.
Now, can you enforce meta tagging and that kind of thing?
Very good question. Can you enforce meta tagging if you have required fields or custom columns, all that? The answer is no. So if you have, you know how in 2010, 2007, you have multiple file upload, and if you have required fields, it's just going to be stay checked out. The same scenario. So if you look at my Outlook now, notice the two tasks are there. Yes, ma'am. Ah, very good question. So your question relates to the site mailbox thing earlier, correct? The fact that you're part of the project, you get it already. So you know how in SharePoint you can add users to SharePoint? So if you're a user in this project, you're a member of this site, you don't have to do anything else. Now, the next question is, well, Dux, what if we don't have Exchange 2013, Outlook 2013? It's still going to work, but the only way you interact with the site mailbox is just through the browser. It's kind of like an Outlook web access kind of thing.
But can you send mail to the site, to the project?
Oh yeah,
Outlook 2010.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's a great point. Let's say you have a vendor sending in invoices or whatever, just send to this email address. In fact, a new email alias was created for this site. If I go back to the SPFest Denver site mailbox, check out who the email from is. It's called SPFest Denver. So it's actually an email address. Very good point. Good. So you can maximize and better collaborate. You can utilize a lot of the Office integration. So I showed you Outlook integration already, site mailbox. All the existing integration with Word and Excel is still there. Project integration, obviously. So let me fire up project again. I know what happened earlier. It just didn't authenticate me because I didn't put in the right user in project. But let me do this reverse. So let me go to this simple project task, and I'm just going to open it with project. Okay, so I'm going to do the reverse. So now that I have some basic tasks, I'm going to open project. Oops, there you go. Oh, because I have that. Hold on. The dialog box that's up. 1 second. Let's try that again. There you go.
Hey, Doug, how does the licensing model work with the Exchange and there's being created through SharePoint?
That I don't know. The licensing aspect of this, I don't know. So let me go ahead and click on this. Yes, sir.
Is project server also required?
No. What I'm doing here has nothing to do with project server. Straight SharePoint and straight project on the desktop. Okay? And if your need is just around making single project schedule visible and have people update, that's all it is. Yeah? So, yeah, something's up with my project. Let's see. Let's go to my Gantt chart. Let's see. Yeah, for some reason it's not syncing correctly. I think it has to do with my authentication. So that's the fourth way. The fifth way, enable mobile access. So mobile access hasn't been new in 2013. It started in 2010, but 2013 is much better. It's a lot of new mobile capabilities. First and foremost, the project site itself, SharePoint 2013, is using HTML5, industry standard, none of the ActiveX anymore, so it's going to render any mobile browser. Second, it has apps available for things like your news feed. But let me show you another scenario here. The other nice thing, so let me refresh my task, and let me show you this, just to show you. Notice I have, so then refresh on, let me go back to my Outlook here. So here, if I notice this, I'm going to check requirements to be completed. Notice in Outlook, let's scratch it out. Give it a second or two. Once it syncs, you see in my project task in the site, that task has already been completed as well. So just hit enter and then refresh. There you go. So it's still thinking. Now, let me show you a scenario here. Yeah, it's still not syncing. Let's see. Something to do with permissions. Now, another thing in 2013, what they've done, so let me show you another scenario. I'm going to show you a mobile scenario here. Every site now in 2013 has what's called a site notebook. A site notebook is essentially a OneNote notebook. Everybody use OneNote? I love OneNote. If you don't use OneNote, you have to. Do you use Evernote? This is 100 times better, so use this. So every site has a OneNote notebook, and I use both OneNote client, so this is my OneNote client. This is the exact same thing as we see on the site, right? So even if you're in a non-Microsoft environment, in fact, let me go back to my project site. You can bring up that notebook and interact with it from the browser as well. So let me talk about a specific use case here on how you can use this with mobile. So in one of our customers we work with, they do a lot of physical projects. Literally, they open little shops and whatnot. And so they're using SharePoint to manage a lot of their projects. And one of the things we found, one of the requirements was their project managers on a regular basis would go to these sites with their iPad 2 or 3, I think, and take pictures of the status of the construction. Y'all with me? Sometimes they take videos too. And it's worse with videos because they can't email it if it's too big. But they rely on email. As soon as they take pictures, email it back to corporate with the status, especially if there's if the build wasn't good, if there's a crack, whatever, they need to send it back right away. So one of the things when they started using SharePoint, but they said part of our project, we need to capture this information in text, in video, sometimes it can be audio, we're talking to contractors or vendors, whatever. I said, why don't you use OneNote? He goes, how? I said, put a OneNote notebook on your project site, and they had an iPad, there's a lot of different apps you can use. I have a Windows phone. So what I'm going to show you is, I'm going to go to that site, open that same OneNote notebook on my phone, take a picture, and in a few seconds you see it show up. All right? And that could be a realistic use case. So can you help me, sir? Take a picture. Okay, so just pop this, click the middle anyway. Hold on, I need to be with you. So there you go. Retake. All right, everybody smile. Good? Yeah. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Let's give him a big round of applause. Good job. All right, good. So now I just said accept, so it's syncing, it's doing its thing. So I'm going to wait. Let it be. Let me see you show up. What's the value here? I mean, think about this. For this customer that used to send via email and all that, well, yeah, they got it, but think about traceability. Think about alerting. Think about workflow. Think about history. See, you showed up. Does, is this something new? No, it's been there since 2010. Think about your world, where if you need to capture multimedia type of, and you can do videos too in audio. But as soon as it's there, guess what? Some alert just or workflow just kicked in. Hey, if we get this update, go and contact this guy again, so they'll see it right away, right? Or if it gets posted in this notebook for non-compliant stuff, do something about it. Y'all with me? Yes, ma'am.
In one of the sessions yesterday, they were talking about being able to put meeting notes using OneNote, using the meeting note function, and shipping back to your site.
Yeah, absolutely. So like this one, if you had a Surface or the new Windows 8, you fire up, you're in a meeting, right? You're writing. This is a OneNote client. Guess what? As soon as you're writing, it just syncs behind the scenes. No more email. Is this helpful? How are the people? Next, what else? Tracking. So the sixth way you can take advantage of 2013 is you can synchronize tasks between project and SharePoint. This is nothing new. It's been there since 2010. I got a bunch of videos on this. The new thing in 2013 is that you can create a project site from Project 2013. Okay? Now, what's the value of this? The value is this means that the resource can enter updates in SharePoint or their phone or Outlook. Those updates will now be fed back to Microsoft Project on the project manager's desktop.
No server. No project server.
For the third time, no server. I'm just kidding. No.
I'll be explaining that to my PM.
Absolutely. No, I'll send you videos around this too.
It's good news.
It is good news. Because I've met a lot of customers where they buy Project Server just for the purpose of surfacing a schedule. If that's all you need, just straight up, Microsoft Project on the desktop and SharePoint, yes.
You could even do, could you start a project from Excel if you have to?
What do you mean start a project from
Like
Excel?
somebody gives you a project task list in Excel.
Oh yeah. Yeah, start it there, copy paste, do a task list or the project. Yeah. On your terms, however you like it. Now, here's something you have to realize though. While while this functionality is great, you can take Microsoft Project, publish the schedule, synchronize it back and forth. There's a catch. The catch is it's good for single projects, right? So let's say you're working on one project, you do your thing. I do my thing, he does his thing. But then the higher ups should say, I want my dashboard. I want all this to roll up. I want my KPIs. I need to worship the red, amber, green. You can't do it with SharePoint on the device. That's tools like Project Server come in, which I'll show you in a second. Now, the sixth way is to automate, or the fifth way is to automate processes. Workflows can be leveraged to automate typical project processes. A lot of us are familiar with workflows in SharePoint. In 2013, there's improvement. And really, if you think about from a project perspective, think about a lot of the processes you have. Things like change control. Anybody know what change control process is? Okay. We have to pay respect to the almighty CCP. It's a good idea, Docs, but we never do it. Why? Because it's so manual. We have to fill out this Word document, email it around, nothing happens. Right? Or simple things like expense reimbursement or even procurement. What if on your project site you create a custom list for change control and then pop in automation in there to say if somebody puts in a change request, go to Ducks. And if Ducks approves, tell finance to release the funds kind of thing. And you can track all this stuff. And you can also maximize Visio because, as some of you know, Visio, you can create like process. And in Visio 2013, which is far more powerful, you can take the process you build in Visio and say, automate this in SharePoint. So automatically build a workflow for you from Visio, put in your SharePoint site. Everybody with me? I'll send you links and videos on that. We just don't have time to do that. Reporting. Project information can be displayed in a rich dashboard through various reporting tools in SharePoint. There's a lot of reporting tools, but one tool I want to highlight and show you quickly is PowerView. If you haven't heard of PowerView, PowerView is a new technology in 2013, Excel, SQL Server, and what it is, it animates your dashboard. It's like animated performance point. Okay, well, what do you mean, Docs? You know when you see movies like where there's like an epidemic that's going on and they're reporting, they're briefing Mr. President? Hey, Mr. President, right now, it's concentrated here. In 24 hours, it's going to grow like in 6 months, the whole U.S. will be wiped out kind of thing. You've seen that, right? So that's what PowerView can do. You can have some report where you can do trending and forecasting and analysis on the fly. So let me pull up a sample here. Let me pull up, I created a PowerView report earlier. Let's see. It's my homepage. Stuff. Okay, there you go. So let me go to my projects. I create a report library. This is nothing but a document library, and I pre-created a report. And again, everything I'm showing you now, you can do in SharePoint 2013. So this is essentially an Excel file. You know how in Excel you can create pivot tables, pivot charts, all that stuff. You can also do PowerView in Excel. So what I did is in this report, it's just reporting all the different projects I have. So it's looking through a bunch of SharePoint project sites, pulling in all the data of different metrics, schedule, issues, budget, all that good stuff. So I'm looking at this now. While it looks big, I could do animate or more sophisticated things. So let me look at the CFO campaign project. So I'm going to click that, and this will render the CFO campaign. And I can drag and I can filter. Very interactive. Y'all see that? Just to show you some possibilities, I'm going to show you reporting. That's not really 2013, but that's out there today. This is the Virginia Department of Transportation. This site is on SharePoint. So this tracks a lot of different metrics in this organization. Isn't that pretty? Somebody got promoted for sure. right? And you can drill down to detailed data. Another example, I'm going to show you recovery.gov. This is a website of our federal government. This is, you talk about project management. This tracks $800 billion worth of stimulus projects. And this whole thing is running on SharePoint. There's a lot of different reporting mechanisms, all that good stuff. So I can click like a specific city, it'll show you how much money they got, what project it was allocated to, how many jobs were created, what the status of the projects are, etc., etc. Now, do a lot of reporting, you could do a lot of analysis. The other thing I want to talk about, so before we wrap up this session, you know, while SharePoint is great, while SharePoint is powerful and enables us to better collaborate around projects, the limitation, if you just use straight SharePoint and your office tools, it's good for single projects. Everybody with me? But then if you tell me, well, Docs, we have a need around resource management. You see, in our IT division, we have 10 developers. At any point in time, we just don't know who's doing what. Or at any point in time, I don't know if I can give more work to my colleague. Right? I'm doing our budgeting for next fiscal year, and I know we need to hire more FTEs, but I can't prove that I need more people. Have you been in that situation? So if you're in that boat, SharePoint alone can't help you. What I would suggest, remember the chart I showed you earlier, what Microsoft offers, that's when you elevate up to tools like Project Server. Project Server can do enterprise level type of resource management, portfolio management, and higher level reporting. So I've got a Project Server environment here. And for example, what we're seeing here is a roll-up of all project sites. So from a big picture view, I can see what's going on. All right? Now, here's something new with Project Server 2013. Listen, this is huge. In the prior version, Project Server and SharePoint are kind of separate, you know? Anybody install Project Server before? Not fun, right? And it's totally separate. And the typical problem in the organization is, if you have Project Server, you have projects there, and then people are using SharePoint for project management, that data cannot come together unless you write some custom code. You follow me? In 2013, that's changed. In 2013, you have the option, look at the screen. I'm in Project Server, I'm looking at all the projects. While some projects are provisioned, created in Project Server, well, guess what? You're not limited to that. If you had SharePoint sites being used for project management, you can pull it up. There's the SP Fest Denver. Let me hit add. What that means now is that SharePoint site will now be visible at the organizational level. Well, people, they work in that SharePoint site, they couldn't care less, but at the organizational level, management will still have visibility as to what the different projects are. So now we talk about reluctant project managers. We don't have to force people who don't like to use Project Server to use Project Server. They can still work in SharePoint. The information they have is available. You could do better resource management. So I could go to my resource center and I can say, hey, show me resource availability. So I pick a couple of resources and it's going to render who's doing what for this week. It's going to show me Adam's work availability, capacity, all that good stuff. And in case you don't know, Project Server is also now available in Office 365. They just released it a couple weeks ago. It's called Project Online. Lastly, from a reporting perspective, so you can generate and create a bunch of different kinds of reports, drivers, what have you. So let's say you need a dashboard on customer satisfaction. You can pull up all the different metrics that you may have. And once you have that, let me bring it up. Let's look at CIO's prioritization matrix, all that good stuff. So it's rendering. So it's showing me all this. What are the priorities? I can look at it. So a lot of this data now is being driven by your projects. right? In large organizations, you can track different metrics, different kinds of projects, how much you're spending. It's going to feed into these different priorities of the higher ups, and it's all built in. So, what do you guys think? Useful? All right. So, again, there's 2013 just revolutionized